Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new series that I've started, and it's called Freddie Fridays. It'll be dedicated to everything Queen, Freddie Mercury, and the entire Queen band. This, of course, is one of the CDs that I still have in my collection that I actually got back in the day. I've actually been a Queen fan for decades. Ever since the 90s, I've been a Queen fan. And that's the main reason why I've started this series. Now, there are quite a bit of Queen fans out there, including one of them, which I'm going to talk about today. It's the TheDivertRealm's video, and it is called Top 15 Queen Albums. And I'm going to talk about certain things about that particular video today on this episode. Top 15 Queen Albums was uploaded back in 2014. This was before the release of Queen Forever and a year before the new re-releases of Queen albums came out on vinyl. Innuendo got a 2 vinyl set in 2015 that had a different track listing than the 1991 original vinyl release. It was uploaded by YouTube user TheDivertRealm. TheDivertRealm wasn't the username at the time of the upload. He has had more than one username over the years. This video was almost 2 hours of awesome Queen music. However, I did notice quite a bit of flaws with his video. The biggest flaw is with the sound. You can't hear his video unless you turn up the volume. He should have upped the volume before uploading. Luckily for this video, I have turned up the sound because the sound isn't the only problem. For this episode, I am going to talk about the mistakes that should be corrected if the user ever does a revised edition of the top 15 Queen albums. The first mistakes I'm going to talk about are with some of the tracks, because at times he really messed up with spelling and pronouncing some songs. Now, I know most fans of Queen knows that track 3 is called Tenement Funster. What did the TheDivertRealm say track 3 was?
Tenement Fuster. Tenement Fuster.
Wow, I can't even believe that guy messed up. I can't believe he said tenement fluster when it is actually tenement funster. Give me a break. That is so funny. I can't believe that he mispronounced tenement funster. And I'm quite surprised after seeing the entire video and actually watching that part of the video where he talks about track 3 of Sheer Heart Attack and calls it tenement fluster. Alright, moving on. And the last thing to point out, he also spelled it wrong when he talked about flick of the wrist. He actually pronounced it tenement fluster down below in the description for flick of the wrist. Can you believe that? Oh well, moving on. This is the next song that he screwed up on. Thankfully, though, it's the last one that he screwed up on. The last one he screwed up on was from the album News of the World. Track 6 is called Fight from the Inside. What did he say track 6 was?
Next up is Flight from the Inside.
That is right. He pronounced it Flight from the Inside, when it should have been Fight from the Inside. Thankfully, he did not misspell flight, but it's still not a part of the title. It should have been Fight, and that is it. Now, he did misspell One Vision, but I'm going to give him a pass because it was only when he described One Vision. When he put it as a title, that was okay because he actually spelled it right and he actually pronounced it right. So I'm not going to deduct points for his description of One Vision. Now, there was only one song that he actually mispronounced, even though he had the spelling right, and that was Seaside Rendezvous from A Night at the Opera. Here's how he pronounced it.
Now we've got Seaside Rendezvous.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I was kind of surprised that he didn't know the pronunciation of rendezvous. Now for the last thing he made mistakes on, his final thoughts. There is a couple of albums where he made mistakes about his final thoughts. As you can see, he put nothing for Hot Space. There is no final thoughts whatsoever. Hot Space is related to his first mistake because I'm going to be talking about The Works, which is the first one to actually have a mistake that he made for Final Thoughts. He mentions that The Works was the first album to feature a banned music video, and the music video being I Want to Break Free. Now, even though I Want to Break Free was banned by MTV and certain outlets in the United States, that don't mean that The Works was the first album to feature a banned music video. If he would have said that The Works was the last album to feature a banned music video, he would have been right, because I Want to Break Free was the last ever music video to be banned by any outlet in the United States when it comes to music videos. However, the first album to feature a banned music video was the album before it. That is right, Hot Space. And guess what the music video was that got banned?
Oh boy, this is a very controversial song in my opinion. Body Language is a very interesting one.
That is right, Body Language. The huge reason why the music video was banned was because the video was considered too risque, and MTV as a result decided not to show it. Here's another big fact. The single cover was also pulled because radio stations didn't want to play Body Language as a result of the single cover. So Elektra Records actually had the cover changed. Here is a picture of the actual single cover. And here was the picture that was actually pulled from radio stations. Despite all of the controversy with Body Language, the song actually became a top 20 hit in the United States. And as a result, it became a successful single for Queen back in 1982. So the myth is, The Works was the first album to feature a banned music video, and the real fact was Hot Space was the first album to feature a banned music video, with the music video being Body Language. The next myth is with The Miracle. The final thought that is wrong is the first album to not have Roger Taylor or Brian May on vocals in the main tracks. This is easily a myth, and I just can't believe that he screwed this up big time when it comes to putting that down for The Miracle. The reason why I know he screwed up is because watch this music video.
Chorus, not only the great vocals, but the guitar solo. Folks, you gotta listen to that. It's one of my favorite guitar solos of all time by any band, because it's not only the solo, but the drumming by Roger Taylor is so awesome.
That was I Want It All. And if you watch the music video, you could see Brian May actually singing the song. So that means that Brian May does have vocals in the main tracks for the album The Miracle, which means that the first album not to have Brian May or Roger Taylor on vocals on the main tracks, like I said, was a myth. And if the guy that uploaded the video would have checked the footage to make sure that that one thing was correct, he probably would have removed that one particular thing from his final thoughts on The Miracle. But the question is, what were you thinking about putting that? Why didn't you check your footage? Why didn't you make sure that that statement that you put was actually correct? It was definitely wrong. The true fact is, The Miracle is not the first album to not feature Brian May or Roger Taylor on vocals in the main tracks. As a matter of fact, there are no albums that are the first album to not feature Brian May or Roger Taylor on vocals in the main tracks, because at least one song on every single album has at least Brian May or Roger Taylor on vocals in the main tracks, even if it's backing. That is right. That is the true fact all along. That every single album has at least one song to have Brian May or Roger Taylor on vocals in the main tracks, even if it's backing. I hope this clears everything up for everybody that wants to know about Queen entirely. There you go. Now, you will find out more about this fact in the near future, because I will be talking about it, because there are some things to talk about when it comes to Queen trivia, to everybody that wants to know about Queen a little more. The final album with mistakes in his final thoughts was Made in Heaven. He pointed out that Made in Heaven until 2014 was the last album. He probably thought at the time that Queen Forever, which did come out, was going to be a full new album with all new tracks, just like with Made in Heaven, where I thought that the album was going to be a compilation with only some new songs. And I turned out to be correct. Queen Forever, which was released in 2014, was a compilation with new songs. It was the first time that a compilation had new songs since the 1997 album Queen Rocks. So as a result, this particular statement is a myth. Made in Heaven is still the last album to this date. His final mistake was with the last appearance of John Deacon and Mercury until 2014. Only half is actual fact. The one that's actually a myth is with John Deacon, because in 1997, with the release of Queen Rocks, Queen released the song No One But You, Only the Good Die Young. He even talks about No One But You near the very end of the video, which featured John Deacon. This was John Deacon's last appearance until 2014, not Made in Heaven. He should have put the last appearance of both Deacon and Mercury separate. He got Freddie's last appearance right, but putting both Freddie's and John together when John Deacon did another Queen track in 1997 was not the right move. Here is a picture of how he should have put his final thoughts for Made in Heaven. Is his video gonna get a yellow card? No. I still recommend watching his video. Despite the flaws, I still liked it, and I might do my own ranking of Queen albums in the near future. This video was done to point out the mistakes he made, just in case he does a revised edition of his video. His original video is still awesome, and I definitely recommend that you check it out. And this is also a big shout out to him for his video. I did like it, and I do recommend that you check it out for sure. And definitely recommend checking out his channel. I will also have a link to his channel down below in the description box as well.